Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for joining us. When we think about sacrifice, what does it really mean? How far would you go in sacrificing something you love for the sake of a greater cause? If we ponder upon the sacrifices made by the women of Kabbalah, what can we learn from their spiritual status? How can we reach that position so that when push comes to shove, we are willing to leave everything behind, give everything up for the sake of Allah? Let's turn to the women of Kabbalah for a greater insight. But first, what does the word sacrifice mean?
I mean, in simple words, sacrifice is when you're willing to do so much or give so much for a person without expecting anything back.
It's the highest form of love that you can reach.
Definitely.
I think sacrifice is giving up everything for something you truly believe in. I think in my mum's case, like she sacrificed her family for Islam. That's what I think about sacrifice, is that it's giving something you love, so giving something that's important to you for something that you believe is more important.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I think if we all put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlul Bayt as guidance, then everything we do for the sake of them would be a sacrifice.
Yeah, my mum always tells me, start everything that you do, start your day, when you speak, when you eat, whatever you do, start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Yeah.
So in the name of Allah. So when you do that, slowly you'll realize that you're doing it in the name of Allah. You might be saying it, but when you actually start believing it, then it makes the biggest difference.
And I find that when you start doing that, you start sacrificing a lot of things that you would normally do.
Yeah. So when speaking about our mothers, when speaking about some of the struggles that we actually have to go through and having to compromise on some of the things that we'd like to do just to make sure that we're not crossing those boundaries. And at the moment, I mean, the things that we're actually going through in terms of the simple things like having to work in our workplace, when even studying, there's so many things around us that influence the way that we act and what we need to give up to make sure that we're still fitting in.
See, I think, alhamdulillah, like I haven't been in a situation where I'd have to sacrifice like a lot. Like, my parents are really supportive in that I can do anything and be anything that I wanted to be, and that like they very supportive in me striving for the best, that person that I want to be in this life. So I don't think I've had to sacrifice. I think, alhamdulillah, we're quite lucky that we don't have to sacrifice as much as our parents had to.
Of course.
So I don't really feel like nowadays we have to sacrifice a lot. I don't know.
No, I definitely say we don't have to sacrifice as much as we did before.
Yeah.
But I think maybe I'm relating it back to making sure that we are holding on to our faith.
Oh, yeah.
More than anything. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm relating it to, more than the struggles that our families went through. Because my parents, the struggles that they went through, I don't think I would ever be able to. No. I would never be able to sacrifice the things that they did.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said. Linking it back to faith and sacrifice is because our iman is so strong and our faith that we don't see it as a sacrifice when we miss out on a certain lifestyle to fit into the society that we're in at the moment. Whereas for those whose iman is much lower, it would be a sacrifice for them, or they might not even be willing to sacrifice it because they really want to fit in. That's why we wouldn't probably relate. But there's so many, like especially the new generation, where they see it as a form of sacrifice.
I think especially when you go to university, like a lot of people feel, oh, I'm missing out on so much. I'm missing out on that uni lifestyle. When I was like, to me, that's not important to me.
It wasn't a sacrifice for me.
No. Joined ISOC and then I was like happy. Thought that was my freshers week. But for other people, no, we need to do what everybody else is doing. Because the whole year is not just Muslims. Like I went to university where 80% were white and they're all non-Muslim. So the 20% of us were just sitting in ISOC or freshers, which wasn't that great. But I never felt like I was missing out.
Yeah.
Whereas if you see the new generation nowadays, they'd be like, oh, university is so dead, or it's not the same if you can't go out clubbing with other people, or if you don't have drinks but still go out with them, it's not the same, unfortunately.
Looking back at Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, she sacrificed both her son and her brother. I think I would struggle to sacrifice one of my family members. For like, I know, like my mum, I don't think I would ever sacrifice my mum for the name of Islam. Even though, like, obviously, I have so much faith, but that's just difficult. I could sacrifice myself easily, but my parents and my sister, I don't know, I'd find that difficult. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
I mean, the right answer would definitely be, yes, I'd sacrifice my entire family for Islam. I'd sacrifice myself. But when I'm thinking about it, if I'm actually there in the moment, will I really sacrifice my family? What will I decide? I don't know. I don't know how to answer this. I don't know how to think about it. Because realistically, it's what I would want to do. I'd want to sacrifice them, but who wants to sacrifice their family? Do you know what I mean?
I feel like you couldn't do it because it's that's painful. Like seeing your parents like die or like give them up. Like I could give myself up easily, but I don't know, that is really hard. Like how would you know unless you're in the situation?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it maybe it goes back to how much faith do you have? Is your aqidah strong?
Okay.
And do you feel that, you know, that if you do sacrifice them, will it be worth it? I think that's the question that you'd most probably be thinking about.
No, I know it's worth it.
It depends on your
It depends
level
on your
of
faith,
spirituality.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ahlul Bayt have the highest level of spirituality. When you reach a high level and your full trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan, which everything we do is a plan of His, then you are willing to sacrifice anything and anybody, even if it's your own children, even if it's your siblings. And you also, when you have that level of spirituality, you also have that emotional maturity where it wouldn't
to be able to understand,
because
like, this is
there's a bigger being, there's a bigger reason.
Really big role.
Exactly.
In traditional communities, men are seen as defenders and protectors, whereas women are seen as those who are standing at the sideline, who aren't the ones who are battling, but watching the men getting wounded and who are fighting themselves. So I think thinking about that, how true is that statement? Because for me, I feel that women play a big role when there's a battle, because they're the one who are also protecting those who are on the sideline. Like Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam, she was protecting the children, she was protecting the women. And that she played a big role, and that was a battle in itself.
But I think she did fight, not physically fighting.
Yeah.
She fought with her words, which is a difference. And I think that brings, like where we're talking about the weak agenda before, that plays a role in it, that men think like, oh, women can't fight. But we can. Like, I remember speaking to someone like a while ago, and they were like, when Imam Mahdi comes, you won't be fighting. And I was like, why not? Just because you're a woman? And I was like, well, why does that stop me? I know women aren't expected to fight, but if I wanted to, for my religion, for my faith, why shouldn't I have that option?
And fighting does not necessarily mean the battles. Like, okay, back in the days, the wars that we heard of in histories. Nowadays, the fights are more on an intellectual level and emotional level. These are the battles that we're facing day in, day out. And women have grown a stronger role in their intellect and in their emotional stability and being able to hold those battles and those fights up that unfortunately men haven't become so good at it.
Yeah. When I hear about the tragedy of Karbala and how Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam sacrificed her sons, I feel proud to have her as a role model, that she had that strength inside her to sacrifice her 2 sons. Like, imagine your child giving that up for the sake of Islam. Like, that's incredible. And as we said before, I don't think I'd have the strength to do that.
Taking pride in having a role model like her is definitely something that we can walk around with our head held high, knowing that this is something that we aspire to be, and we can tell people about it. It's a figure that we have that existed, and there's history, and there's so many sermons and a hadith about the characteristics, and we can use those to tell other people, whether it be Muslims or non-Muslims, because at the end of the day, the characteristics and the personality traits that they had are transferable to all humankinds and all religions. So it's not something just Islam.
Yeah. No, and it just shows that there is no limit to what you can sacrifice and what to sacrifice. And it also tests your level of faith in terms of, if you, with Islam, it's something that you believe in. It's not something that you can see. So sacrificing something for something that you don't even see, now that is great.
I think she had that so much trust in Allah that she knew it was gonna be okay. Like, she knew what she was doing was for the right cause. And that's a lesson for us, in that we should have faith that everything's gonna be fine, regardless. and we shouldn't worry or have those little anxieties that we might do.
No, it's true. Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam is the greatest example to show sacrifice and what to sacrifice.